Hey everybody, welcome to episode 3 of the Room 222 podcast.
222.
I'm Robby. That
I'm
yelling
excited.
buffoon is excited, Tristan. Tristan, you're very excited to talk about something that you dislike to a pretty high degree. So we are going to talk about The Last Dance.
Dislike it greatly, but the only reason why I'm excited is because I'm wearing these sunglasses and I feel like I'm channeling my inner Dennis Rodman.
Dennis Rodman, who we talked about really wanting to see more of in the next couple episodes. They said that episode 3 was the Dennis Rodman episode. So we got a little bit of Dennis Rodman. We got a lot of Dennis Rodman, actually, but not enough in Tristan's mind. So episode 3 of the Room 222 podcast, and we are all about The Last Dance here today. Like I said, they aired episode 3 and 4 last Sunday.
Yep.
We got to see a lot of Dennis Rodman, and I am just blown away by some of this stuff.
Dude,
like what
can
you
you blown
imagine?
away by?
So here's a quick recap if you haven't watched it.
Give it to
Dennis
us.
Rodman, in the middle of a season, went to Vegas for 3 days.
He was out.
He just left the team and just went to Vegas to go gamble and get drunk repeatedly. It's middle of the season. Like, they're trying to go win a championship. And Dennis Rodman just left.
He said, I'm done.
And not like, here's the wildest part. It wasn't unexcused. He went to Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan was like, y'all, I need a vacation. We're traveling around the world and I play basketball 3 times a week. I need a vacation. And he was like, yeah, sure. You can go to Vegas for 48 hours.
48.
If you watch it, Michael Jordan said the same thing that everybody in America should have said, which is, look at him. He's not coming back 48 hours.
Not going to happen.
He didn't. He just was gone. I remember when the episode first aired, I was watching it as they're playing it, and it's like they put a ticker at the bottom, and it's like Dennis Rodman has been excused to go on vacation to Vegas for 48 hours. Dennis Rodman has been gone for 48 hours. 49, 50, 61, 60. It just started counting up, and you're like, how long was Dennis Rodman really gone?
I think he would have, if no one came and got him, I think he would have stayed maybe 3 weeks, 3-4 weeks.
He'd have maybe come back for the playoffs, maybe.
Maybe the playoffs, maybe like second round.
Dude, he's probably just skips the first round entirely. He's like, oh, Mike's got this.
He would.
Well, yeah. He was upset because we saw the conclusion of the Scottie Pippen stuff. And I have some thoughts on Scottie Pippen today that I think I was a little caught up in the hype of the first 2 episodes when we first talked about it. And after watching 3 and 4, and then going back and doing a little bit of study, and I've got some thoughts about Scottie Pippen, but we'll get to it a little later on.
I'm
because
curious
right now.
You've sparked my curiosity.
I know I've piqued your interest. You guys are going to have to hold on and wait until we get to –
Even if I have to hold on. Stuff. If I have to hold on, all of you can wait.
So here we are, episode 3 and 4. This is how do you feel about – I know last week you were a little disappointed in episodes 1 and 2.
Yeah.
You with your Rodman glasses on, what did you think of episodes 3 and 4?
Well, listen, I think I'm starting to come down a little bit on them, their decision to not air it, until 2021, but then go ahead and throwing it up. I feel like the more episodes that go on, I'll be like a little softer on that stance. Maybe. But it still bothers me a little bit. If you watch the last episode of the Room 222 podcast, I started out by being upset that they were going to do it to 220. I mentioned it. I threw that out there. If you haven't watched it yet, I don't know what you're doing here. You need to go back and watch the NFL draft recap. It's unbelievable. Stop breaking the rules. This is ridiculous. You don't watch episode 3 before number 2.
This isn't Star Wars. We're doing this in chronological order.
Thank you. Take that, George Lucas. Overrated. Yeah. Gosh. Anyways, I know. I said it. Okay. I said it. He's overrated. He's overrated. Just like somebody else in the NFL draft that I mentioned on episode 2 that you have to go see for yourself.
Overrated.
I'm doing plugs left and right now.
You're plugging into the past.
I'm plugging everything. I'm like the person that you hire to plug your bathtub up when things aren't working. You know.
Plumber?
Nope. No, I don't. Nope. But anyways,
All right, dive in. Last
listen,
hits.
I'm okay. I get it. I think it's a well done documentary. I mentioned this. They do a good job. They clip it together, they edit it together, all of those things. I was happy to see that Dennis Rodman got some love, but I still was upset of how much time they spent away from Dennis Rodman. Now, I can understand that if they gave Dennis Rodman love episodes 1 and 2, that, okay, they give him a little bit of love every episode or throughout it, at least 60, 70% of it. I get it. But if you are going to say Dennis Rodman coming up, Dennis Rodman, they're going to promote it that way. They're going to use his image for everything. They're going to hype it up. Dennis Rodman episode. Here it comes. Get ready. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I feel like the ESPN guy is doing behind his little desk. Here we go. And I'm like, all right. And then they still talk about the Bulls and the versus the Pistons before Dennis Rodman was even on the Bulls, when he was on the Pistons, when he wasn't even truly the Dennis Rodman that we know and love him for today. He was just a normal dude. Like, he admitted it. He said if he didn't sort of just become free, if he didn't just let loose, nobody would be talking about Dennis Rodman. They'd be like, oh, just another dude, like another guy that could rebound well. Great. You know what I mean? And so I was upset at that. I was upset that they still didn't dedicate the whole – they gave you false hope. It was false hope. And while we're on it, while I'm on my airing my grievances, while I'm upset about these things, I got something else to say.
Let's hear it.
You know what that is? If you were not raised in the 90s, and if you don't know much about the 90s Chicago Bulls at all, when I say the name Tony Kukoc, you will have no idea who I'm talking about based off 4 hours of episodes, 4 hours of Bulls documentary, when he was the third leading scorer on the greatest basketball dynasty there ever has been. The third lead, good Michael, Scotty, Tony Kukoc. 1993, 94, he was there. 95, he was there. 96, he was there. Kukoc was there. He was there coming alongside of Jordan and Pippen, doing his thing, hitting little threes. He was a tall dude, lefty. He was hitting threes. He was passing the ball. He put his ego aside. I mean, he was a star internationally overseas. This dude's an international guy. They've got him on the Bulls. He's the third leading scorer. Not only that, but when the whole entire Bulls team breaks up, when Rodman leaves, when Jordan leaves, when Pippen leaves, when Steve Kerr leaves, when all of these people leave, guess who stayed? Guess who hung in there? Tony Kukoc. After the 97-98 season and 98-99, Tony Kukoc was there, and he was averaging 18.8 points a game, the leading scorer of the team. Everybody left him. He stepped up. If you don't know anything about the 90s Bulls, you won't even know who Tony Kukoc is because they haven't even said his name yet. Not even his name.
You guys got to go. You better go Google Tony Kukoc.
Come on. You won't even know how to spell Kukoc. That's the problem.
Steve Kerr has been in this documentary a lot.
Yeah. And let me tell you. No, shut your mouth. Let me tell you how many games. Let me tell you how many games Steve Kerr started for those Bulls teams compared to Tony Kukoc. Okay, first off, Steve Kerr started one basketball game in the NBA from 1993 to 2001. He started one basketball game for the Bulls or the Spurs. One. Tony Kukoc started 53, I think it was, out of the 82 games for the 97-98 Bulls. He started games for the year before that when they won all the games that they won. When they won the 70-plus games, he started for that team, also the third leading scorer. Steve Kerr averaged under double digits. The only reason why he got any sort of attention during that time is because he hit one of those game-winning shots, but he didn't do nothing before it. He wasn't getting all the play. He played 22 minutes a game. That's fine. It's respectable. But how come Steve Kerr has so much airtime? Steve Kerr may have been interviewed the same amount as Michael Jordan has been interviewed.
He's been on there. He's been on there a lot. Very outspoken guy. Yeah, it's it's a problem when Carmen Electra has more airtime than Bill Cartwright.
Come on.
on this documentary.
Listen,
here's the wild part is the only reason Carmen Electra's on this documentary is because she happened to be the girl that was in the room when Michael came to get Dennis Rodman.
The only reason.
But if you're doing this Bulls documentary, what girl was in Dennis Rodman's room doesn't matter, because all that matters is that Dennis Rodman left the team in the middle of the season and went to Vegas for 80 hours.
They're taking shine from Dennis Rodman to put it on
Carmen Electra because she was the girl that Dennis Rodman decided to be with.
Unbelievable.
Right after Madonna.
You know who has more airtime than Tony Kukoc?
Who's that?
Will Perdue. You know who Will Perdue is? Do you know? Do you know who Will Perdue is? Oh, he played center for the Bulls once upon a time.
Yeah.
At the bench constantly, 7-foot, big old white guy that just moved around like a brick.
He was on there.
Yeah, but Will Perdue had more airtime than Tony Kukoc. You know what high school Will Perdue went to?
No.
Oh, I'm about to get you on this one. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
He's a Merritt Island High School Mustang.
Shout out Merritt Island, Florida.
That's my high school that I went to, Merritt Island High. Will Perdue also went there in the 70s, maybe the 60s. I don't know.
Is that the Merritt Island High claim to fame?
He's probably the top dog.
Okay.
I mean, there's some football and baseball players in there, but Will Perdue getting his one
NBA
interview.
champions.
Yeah, no NBA champions besides Will Perdue. I feel like I could beat Will Perdue one-on-one at any point of his life. Any time when he was in I would beat him one-on-one.
Yeah, so we'll kind of do a rundown real quick because we talked a little bit about Dennis Rodman in Vegas. What's interesting is the reason he went to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
So Scottie Pippen is out. They documented last time he was out beginning of the 97-98 season. And he decides he's going to come back and play now. He kind of figures it out, says, all right, I'm going to come play. The timing's weird.
He realized he wasn't in control. He realized he wasn't really the boss.
Oh, right. That was the thing is he kind of figured out, oh, man, he was trying to strong-arm him. Mm-hmm. And then he just kind of got to the point where it's like, oh, yeah, the team has entire control over the situation.
Exactly.
I'm just going to go play basketball. So when he comes back, Michael doesn't have to rely on Dennis Rodman as much anymore. And I think he might have felt kind of shoved to the side.
Yeah.
And he was hurt by it. So there was a little story that Dennis Rodman came out. They went to the All-Star game, and when they announced Dennis Rodman, they booed him. And the reporter looks at Dennis. I can't remember who the reporter was. Looks at Dennis Rodman, and he's like got tears in his eyes.
Dude, he's a beautiful soul. He's an emotional man.
And so he's like upset, and he's like, "Why don't they love me?" And so that just kind of tells you, like, Dennis Rodman he needed to be loved. He needed to be felt important. Oh, yeah. That's why Phil Jackson was so important. They touch on that, how they connected over Native American artifacts and other weird stuff that Phil Jackson's into, like yoga poses and whatnot.
He's a tall man doing yoga.
He is. So when Scottie comes back and now Michael's right-hand man is back in the picture and Dennis Rodman's a little bit more expendable. Now you're looking at somebody who's probably hurt by that.
Oh, yeah.
And so the vacation was likely about that. He probably didn't like the way that felt. He's like, I got to get out of here.
I believe it.
I got to go to Vegas. I don't feel loved. I don't feel important. He was probably pretty upset.
Mm-hmm.
So, dude, I got like.
Dude, you got to stop eating bugs, bro. Fun fact. Robby eats 6 bugs a day.
Not true.
I liked how they dove into Phil Jackson a little bit. I liked
yeah.
some of the stories they had of him coaching over in Puerto Rico, I think it was, where
Yeah.
he was telling some stories about that. Just even Phil's kind of eccentric background, just kind of a little wild man. Listen, when I saw Phil Jackson run around on that basketball court with those shoulders that went up almost to his ears,
Yeah, he
and
got
they were
big
just,
shoulders.
I was hurting. Like I felt pain in my body watching him move.
Yeah. He
It
looks
was,
like a haunted house door.
oh
Like
gosh.
just creaks. It's big and
I can't
it's
even
just
imitate it. It's like impossible to even imitate.
it
It's like
just
you
moves
gotta
slowly
stick.
and
There it is. There's Phil Jackson's shoulders. This collarbone. It was, I mean, it was ridiculous. But I liked how they did it because I think it gave a little depth on just his coaching style, how he was able to relate
right.
to some of the players, how he was really a player's guy, you know,
Right.
because he was that assistant coach for a while behind Doug Collins, and Doug Collins even admitted, he's like, "Oh, I knew I was out of there." Like Doug Collins is like, "I knew this wasn't gonna last." I can just imagine Doug Collins going home to his wife and being like, "We're not gonna be here for very long.
We need to start saving. We gotta put some stuff in the bank account because we're about to be unemployed."
It's not gonna go." And he's still, Doug Collins is still kicking. He's still a good coach.
Yeah, he does a lot of stuff for talking NBA and ESPN and stuff like that. So I've seen him around a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, the Phil Jackson got along. They kind of dive into him dropping acid or something like that was on there, whatever.
Crazy.
But he was kind of a wild individual, and so he fit right in with Dennis Rodman, and they were able to mesh so well.
Mm-hmm. You know, I saw a quote from Dennis Rodman that I think is very true. I want to get your thoughts on this. It said, you know,
Okay.
Dennis Rodman said, they say everyone wants to be like Mike. You know, they got the commercials, want to be like Mike, da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
Dennis Rodman says, I think Mike wants to be like Dennis Rodman. He wants to be like Dennis Rodman. That freedom, like the fact that he could go, because listen, Michael Jordan, he's got a clean cut sort of thing because he is worth so much money and he has a company to organize and all those sort of things, but he keeps this low profile so you don't really know. But I think if Michael Jordan was allowed to let loose and he wouldn't lose so much and so many people didn't count on him for so much stuff, he employs so many people, I think Michael Jordan would have been a wild, wild man.
I think, I don't think that Dennis Rodman was pulling that out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
I think that there were probably conversations where Dennis Rodman's like, yo, Mike, you want to go get matching tattoos, some butterflies on our face? And Mike's like, no, I can't do that. I can't put tattoos on my face or butterflies. I've got a company to run. Mm-hmm. He's like, that sucks. I'm going to go dye my hair. And MJ's like, you do that, man. I wish I could do that.
He's envious of Dennis.
But I mean, we talked a little bit about Dennis Rodman going to Vegas, Scottie Pippen coming back.
Yeah. Don't make the people wait anymore, man. I want to know what your thoughts are on Scottie Pippen. I have no idea what you're about to say, but I have to hear it. So
Scottie's getting painted. And look, I love Scottie Pippen. I respect Scottie Pippen. I think he's a phenomenal basketball player. Was integral to those Bulls championships. Michael's right-hand man, did a lot of the dirty work along with Rodman.
Mm-hmm.
They painted out Scottie Pippen as the Bulls quit on him and they kind of did him dirty, hung him out to dry, and they did. That's fair. But people forget, and as a Rockets fan is hurt, that right after the 97-98 season, he signed a huge deal with the Rockets.
Yeah.
Big time, big money. And then, played 50 games and just was like, I'm out of here. He bounced.
So are you trying to say this may be part of his character?
Here's why Scottie Pippen, with all his physical tools, was never going to be Michael Jordan.
Uh-huh.
Was never going to be LeBron. Was never going to be one of those guys. He gets hurt, and he's kind of like, oh, I don't know, and I'm not making a whole lot of money. I'm just not going to play. It's messed up. I was like, well, should have thought about that before you signed a deal you signed, but you try to take your family, whatever. Michael Jordan has a 10% chance of not having a career and he's like ready to fight the ownership for not being on the floor.
That's true.
Scottie Pippen, he goes out there, plays. They win a championship. He's complaining about his money, how the team did him dirty. He goes, signs however much for the Rockets, and then just plays 50 games.
Uh-huh.
So it didn't seem like he loves basketball. It seems like he was good at basketball, and he made a career out of it and made some money, but I don't know. Just feel like he made more money playing than Michael Jordan did, by the way.
I saw that.
People forget that from a contract standpoint, Scottie Pippen at the end of his career made more money playing basketball than Michael Jordan did.
But they're not going to talk about that. They're not going to show it.
Mike's not going to throw his buddy under the bus.
And Scotty's not going to say it either. He's going to keep playing that card. He's got to get those sympathy votes.
Well, I think both can be true, that he was disrespected by the Bulls and underappreciated, and then he kind of quit at the end when it was all said and done.
Right.
Just kind of was like, I know he was probably dealing with some nagging injuries or whatever, but man, you wanted this big payday. You wanted this money. The Rockets step out and they give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just kind of like, oh, well, I'm not really about it. I've got my money, so I'm done. So I was disappointed in that. And if I wanted to go full hot take, I'm kind of pissed about it.
Oh,
like, Rockets. I'm a Rockets fan. So, man, we were like, we got Pippen. The Bulls are done. We got Pippen. He's like, I think I'm going to play 53 games. All right. Like 5-year, $98 million contract. It's like,
yeah,
no, I'm good. I won championships with the Bulls, and now that I'm not playing with Michael, it just kind of isn't for me. So,
you just didn't want to do it anymore.
But I mean, it is what it is. That's my Pippen take. I was a little disappointed with, and again, they keep playing this card, and I think both can be true. Disrespected by the Bulls, not really felt appreciated, underpaid for the Bulls. But then when you get wildly overpaid the very next year, and then you don't fulfill your side of the contract, it kind of makes all the stuff you said kind of like a moot point to me.
I see what's happening here.
So
I see what's going on.
You know, I'm disrespected. They should have paid me more money. I'm out here putting my body on the line, and I'm underappreciated. I'm undervalued.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's a bunch of money to play with the Rockets for 5 years. We want you to stick around. I don't know.
Do you wish that the current NBA still resembled some of those times where we saw those bad boy Pistons literally just two-arm checking Jordan to the ground, Pippen to the ground, shoving him in the back? Do you wish there was a little bit more of that edge nowadays?
I wish there was a little bit, yeah. Like, to me, I wish, like, good hard fouls were considered good hard fouls.
Okay.
Like, you should still be able to send a message.
Uh-huh.
Now, the bad boy Piston teams crossed the line. Like, they did way too much.
And they admitted it.
Oh, yeah. Well, and that's what I respect about it, is they owned it. They're just like, we're going to punch you in the mouth, and what are you going to do about it? Nothing.
Yeah.
So, you know, but I wish there was a little bit more of that, that physicality. Nowadays, a guy goes up for a fast break layup, and you grab him and make sure he doesn't go up for it, and he goes down to the ground. They're like, well, we got to see if this is a flagrant. But no, he didn't want the guy to get a layup. He wants him to shoot free throws. Like, and you can't just halfway foul the guy. They're too talented. If you just halfway touch him, he's going to get an and one.
Uh-huh.
So make sure he doesn't get the ball up to the rim. I'm all for it. I love it. I like little grabbing in the post, pull and push a little bit. I wish hand checking would come back.
The hand checking needs to come back. The hand check. I just thought of something.
Okay.
Which current? I got one in my mind. I can go first. Which current NBA player needs to adapt? Needs to not adapt, but needs to kind of implement the Dennis Rodman rebound and don't even worry about how many points you're getting strategy. You may have seen this. They do the little trivia thing as they transition.
Yeah.
And it was like the amount of times that Rodman had 0 points and 20 plus rebounds.
Like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, he was killing it. It was killing it. I think the next closest was 2 times or something like that. Rodman was blowing them out of the water. 0 points, 20+ rebounds. Who right now in the NBA needs to take the Dennis Rodman approach to playing basketball? Don't worry about your jump shot. Just get your rebounds, put back dunks, layups. If you hit a little pick and roll, you got a little bunny one.
Right.
Simplify. I'm not saying not score any points at all, but I'm saying zero in on rebounds where you're trying to get 20 rebounds a game.
Well, there's already one guy who does it. The problem is he's 6'6",
Mm-hmm.
and he's not big enough to do that, and that's PJ Tucker.
Okay.
He plays great defense. He's undersized for a power forward, which is the position he plays essentially, although it's all positionless now with that small ball.
Right.
But he is a ferocious rebounder. And when I say that, I mean he tries hard for rebounds. He's not concerned with scoring points. He doesn't care about shooting. He takes corner threes on occasion. I know during the season this year before it got canceled, he was implementing a little floater. So it's with the small ball, he had some work down low that he could kind of do something. But he is already kind of implementing that. I'm going to box out and work hard and go for rebounds. I'm going to defend in the post, and I don't need to score. I'm cool with not scoring. So PJ Tucker, who's one of my favorite players in the league for that reason, he's implemented that. And I'll say this guy who I don't even want to say his name because I'm sick and tired of all the media attention he's been getting the past week or 2 weeks. It's insane. But Draymond Green, I'd be happy if he never shot another basketball. Like, that guy's shooting motion is so bad.
It's rough.
But he's, golly, I hate even complimenting him right now because of all the nonsense he said.
Forget you, Draymond.
Draymond Green is like,
I'm not afraid to say it. I don't need no guest stars on this show.
I hope Draymond Green comes on this show. I would be nice to every guest but Draymond Green.
If any guest comes on our show, I'm speaking the same thing. I'm gonna say it to Chase Young. I'm gonna say it to Draymond. I'll say it to KD. I'll say it to all of them.
But Draymond Green, he's doesn't have to worry about shooting because he can't do it. He can rebound pretty good. He's good. He's a decent rebounder. He's average, I guess. But he's a good passer for the position he plays, and he's not the smartest guy on the floor. But that's so. Let me go. First of all, I don't know if you saw this while we're on Draymond Green because I've got things to say about.
Say it then. Get it off your chest.
Draymond Green a couple weeks ago said that he was better than Charles Barkley.
Goodness gracious.
Which kids out there, just go YouTube Charles Barkley.
Come on.
For 5 minutes.
Come on.
You'll see that Draymond Green can't hold Charles Barkley's jockstrap.
None of it.
There's no business talking that nonsense. And here's what he says. Charles Barkley don't got no rings around here. Charles Barkley don't have any rings. So that's true. Charles Barkley
implement
also didn't have
Jonathan
Steph Curry.
Freeman. Trying to implement the Jonathan Freeman
the
argument.
rings culture, man. If Charles Barkley had Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, and Kevin Durant, Charles Barkley would have some rings.
Come on.
Draymond Green it's ridiculous. He's going off about Charles Barkley isn't better than me. I changed the game. You changed the game, Draymond Green? You changed the game?
Stop it.
Dude, you average 7 rebounds a game.
It's basic.
You average 3 assists per game. You're a career 9-point scorer.
Weak.
You didn't change the game, buddy.
Sounds like Steve Kerr type stats.
Right. Golly, Steve Kerr. In that documentary a lot. But he's out there like, oh, man, I changed basketball. I did it. It's like, no, you didn't. You were beside 2 of the greatest shooters of all time, and then they added Kevin Durant, who's a top 3 NBA player of his generation. Every year he was in the league. He was never not a top 3 basketball player in the league.
Ridiculous.
He added him to the team. He didn't change the game. In fact, I'd go as far to say that had Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving not got hurt, you wouldn't have a ring to talk about.
None. Say it.
If Kevin Durant doesn't join the team, even if you get the first one, you don't have rings 2 and 3.
That's right.
And then and I know what Warriors fans are gonna do. Well, last year Kevin Durant got hurt, Klay Thompson got hurt, but you don't get a pass for that.
I've heard it.
Well, no, because you still carry your ring around from when Kevin Love and Kyrie got hurt.
I've heard
So
it.
if you want to have that one, you don't get to have this excuse on this one. You can't have it both ways. Now, if you're willing to forfeit the first ring you got, well, then I can say, well, maybe you would have won the last one when Kevin Durant got hurt and you're playing the Raptors. Probably not. The Raptors were a really good team, but I can at least say it's a possibility. So get out of here, Draymond Green, with this nonsense of you're a 3-time champion and you change the game of basketball. It's outrageous. And here is the problem. The people in the news media are adding to it. And I'm doing it right now. The fact that we're even talking about Draymond Green, it must be working.
Must be.
ESPN posted a picture the other day, and I kid you not, I almost threw my phone across the room.
Oh, gosh.
Because it was a picture, and by the way, this is right after the Last Dance documentary. They had just shown Dennis Rodman's 0 points and 28 rebounds 5 times. They're talking about one of the greatest rebounders, if not the greatest rebounder of all time. And here's what they post. They post a ball in the air, and they put a picture of Charles Barkley, the round mound of rebound. The round mound of rebound. That's his nickname, folks. Charles Barkley got boards. Kevin Garnett was a 7-footer getting boards. Dennis Rodman averaged 14 rebounds per game for his career.
Whole career.
Absurd. He's not a center. He's
6'7".
Power forward, small forward hybrid. And then they had Ben Wallace, who I respect him being up there, but honestly, he didn't really have much business being on this picture either. And then, guys, he averaged 9 rebounds his first career, and he's a center.
Right.
And then, for whatever reason, they put Draymond Green on the picture.
I saw it. I was upset.
If they could throw that ball in the air 1,000,000 times, and every time they could remove a body part from the other 4 guys, and Draymond Green would still never get a rebound over those guys. Ever. It's absolute nonsense.
I hear you.
And then they take it a step further, and this is one I saw months ago, and I dismissed it because I thought it was a joke. I really did. I thought somebody was making a joke. But then it got posted on actual credible sports media sites. It was a picture of Shaquille O'Neal backing down Draymond Green. And they asked the question, what happens on this possession?
Oh, my gosh.
Draymond Green retires. That's what happens on that possession.
Yeah, he gets dunked on every single time. The
fact that, this Draymond Green nonsense has crossed the line that is so absurd that it bothers me to this level. Tristan, you know me, you've known me for a long time. I don't get upset about a lot.
No.
This has me very upset. Anytime I see Draymond Green on TV, on a video, anywhere, it's like, man, this is driving me wild.
You get enraged.
Like he was on there talking the other day. Well, if Kevin Durant wanted to stay with the Warriors, all he had to do was ask to trade me. It's like, yeah, he did. They just said no because they weren't going to pay Kevin Durant another max contract and have a guy that was kind of divisive in the locker room.
Right.
And that was kind of the stuff that's come out recently. Was Kevin Durant felt some type of way, and he never felt truly loved because everyone loves Steph Curry.
Right.
And that was just all fan perception. Thank you. That was all fan perception, by the way. That wasn't the organization saying Steph Curry's a better player. And it means that Steph Curry sells more tickets and he's more beloved by fans.
Quick hit. Steph Curry or James Harden? Quick hit.
James Harden.
Moving on.
But rings culture. James Harden's a ring.
Yeah,
so Steph Curry is better for the same reason that Draymond Green is better than Charles Barkley.
That seems like a Freeman kind of mentality.
It's nonsense. It's ridiculous. It just doesn't make sense, and it's gone too far. If you want to argue Steph Curry and Harden, and you want to use rings as your and look, championships matter. They do matter.
Okay.
But they can't be the overall determining factor. Otherwise, Patrick McCaw is in the conversation for greatest basketball player of all time. He's won 3 straight championships.
3 for 3.
He's won 3 straight championships.
3 years in the league.
He's 3 years in the league. He's won 3 straight championships. And nobody has any idea who he is. So championships matter, but we have to also put it in context. So if you want to argue Steph Curry versus James Harden and use your rings as a plus for Steph Curry is great. I get it. I can get behind that. I disagree with you, but at least I can get behind the argument.
Right.
What I cannot get behind, and what I refuse to get behind,
say it.
Possible notion that Draymond Green belongs in any conversation next to Charles Barkley, Dennis Rodman, and Kevin Garnett. He should never be mentioned among those three guys.
None.
Ever in his entire life.
None.
So that's my rant on
You feel
Draymond
better?
Green. No, I don't, because I talked about it.
Listen, I'm going to tell you right now who I think should take on the Dennis Rodman strategy.
Isaiah Simmons.
Yes. Isaiah Simmons could play in the NBA. I believe that. I've never seen his jump shot, but just his athleticism by itself.
Rodman scored 0 points.
I'm just saying.
28 rebounds 5 times.
Here it is. This is a young guy too, though. My guy is a young guy, but I think if he focused on it and did it, he'd be the greatest rebounder to walk the face of the earth.
Okay.
Zion Williamson. Listen, I get it. He can score 20 points a game. I know.
I'm laughing because you're not wrong.
I know. He can score 20 points a game. Wrong. I get that. But goodness gracious, there should not be a basketball game that is played where Zion Williamson doesn't have more than 15 rebounds every time. If he's playing 30-plus minutes, he should have 15 rebounds every single time. He should be studying like Dennis Rodman, like the legend. Dennis Rodman studied how the ball came off the fingertips, then it came off the rim. He studied the spin of it. Listen. He said he would ask the players just to shoot. He would just have them shoot, and he would just grab rebounds the entire time just to learn how the ball bounced. That was his training. Zion Williamson, he needs to be rebound. If I ever see another game where Zion Williamson has under 10 rebounds, that is a shame. It is pitiful. I am upset. This dude is a freak athlete. He's got a big body. He can box out anybody. He can touch his chin to the box on the backboard. He needs to go grab every single rebound that comes off of that rim. Lonzo Ball shouldn't have any rebounds in a game. I don't want to see no Lonzo Ball triple-doubles because he has a rebound. None. They shouldn't let him get him at all. Did you see when Jordan and Rodman both went up for the same rebound? Both of them had their hands on the rebound. Rodman had 2 hands on it. Jordan had 2 hands on it. Guess who took their hands off first? Michael Jordan. Rodman was not letting go of the rebound. That was his thing. Come on, people.
I laugh because you're not wrong. I also laugh because it's never going to happen, just because for the sole reason that they're going to rely on him so much to do so many other things.
It's ridiculous.
That it's not feasible for him to go get all those rebounds. But you're right. He has the talent for it. He has the body for it. He's got the physique for it. If he just becomes aggressive, and if he really did that, if he just was like, you know what, I'm going to well, you can't do it because Lonzo Ball can't shoot, but I'm going to let Lonzo Ball shoot all the shots and
he can still score.
But he's not going to be working out in the post and stuff and doing all that. You know, he's got a decent jumper. His game isn't pretty, by the way.
Yeah, but all these players want to be pretty. They don't want to get down and dirty.
But if he gets down there, and it's funny because he's explosive, he's big, he's strong. He could do it. He could get a lot of rebounds.
Get a rebound, push the fast break, dunk on someone's head, and live your life as the man that's grabbing 20 rebounds a game.
So
come on.
But yeah, I that's a good pick.
Just saying.
So, well, let's talk about the Bad Boy Piston team for a little while because they were in a documentary.
Let's do it.
They were hated by everybody, and they implemented something called the Jordan Rules, which, by the way, further solidifies he's the GOAT because nobody else has their own set of rules. Everybody else has suggestions and things to do, but nobody has their own set of rules. So in today's NBA, and you can't have those set of rules because of the way the game is played nowadays. Yeah. In today's NBA, the only rules you get is force him to go left and trap, force him to go right and trap. Or in James Harden's case, double the second he crosses half court. And force
Or
him to throw the
stand
ball.
behind him. While he
Stand
runs
behind
forward.
him, or the second he crosses half court, 2 guys run at him and make him throw the ball to somebody else.
Yeah,
At half court, we're going to play 4-on-3 the rest of the way.
they're doing it.
Or we are going to stand behind him so he can't step back, and we force him to drive. And he's still going to average 35 points a game. So, but those are suggestions. The Jordan rules are make him dribble left, and when he dribbles, go knock him to the ground. You can't do that. Don't let him get to the baseline and knock him to the ground anytime he comes in the paint.
Yeah.
Those guys were ruthless, man. Like if you'd heard about the Bad Boy Piston team, you're like, that's a cool name for a team.
Uh-huh.
And you're like, yeah, they used to foul and they were like tough on people. And you're like, yeah, that's pretty cool. When you go watch the Bad Boy Piston team, you're like, man, those guys are rude. Like, that's just mean. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And remember, Jordan was still dropping 32 a game.
Yeah, still.
They're throwing him on the ground. And so it really, and people have done this question of, well, what if he played in the modern NBA, or what if so-and-so played in the NBA back then? There's a lot of factors that go into that.
Mm-hmm.
But Michael Jordan, the Pistons solidified that Michael Jordan would score 40 points a game in the modern NBA.
43.
He would score 40 points a game. And if he trained the way that young kids train now and everybody's shooting a three-point shot,
oh my goodness,
he would average a ridiculous amount. So statistically, Michael Jordan's three-point shooting career isn't great. It's not. No. It's not. It doesn't wow you. It might actually be below average.
I think it is.
But they didn't really do that back then. Mm-hmm. That wasn't a big thing of. It wasn't a part of what basketball was at the time. So they didn't practice it like that.
Right.
You had a few specialists and stuff like that, but now everybody can shoot. In the NBA today, everybody can shoot the three. Right. So if Michael would come up and was doing it today, he'd average 40 points, 43 points, 45
and
points.
They were slowing down. You see the end of these scores that they're showing is 80-something to 90-something. They're all in these high 80s, low 90s sort of range. That's all the points they're even trying to score. And that could have been high pay. That could have been a high number. I remember watching them going, that was a lot.
Yeah, well, and that's because of the way they when you're getting knocked to the ground repeatedly and you're getting beat up all game, when the fourth quarter comes around, then it's hard to make shots.
Yeah.
And you're tired of getting knocked around. You can't go down in the paint like that anymore.
That's right.
Because you're just going to get beat up and you got other stuff to worry about. You got another game in 2 nights. So, but man, that Bad Boy Piston team came in and, by the way, could have had 3 straight championships, but they in the early 90s, great basketball team. So let's go ahead and just dispel the rumor of if Jordan was playing weak competition, because that's been out there.
No.
People put that Elo shot over there. Should have said Ron Harper should have been guarding when they were playing the Jazz. By the way, people don't talk about this either. The Jazz used to beat people up too.
Oh yeah.
They weren't quite on the Detroit Pistons level, but they were pretty aggressive.
Right.
For the Utah Jazz were.
That's true.
But Michael finally gets – so Michael can't beat the Pistons, the Bad Boy Pistons. They win 2 championships, almost 3. Great team. And then finally the Bulls get past them.
Beat them.
They get it done. And the Pistons walk off the floor with some time left. What do you think about that?
Listen, I laughed at Jordan responding to Isaiah Thomas's sort of explanation of it. That was humorous to me because he's like, I don't want to hear this nonsense. Like, yeah, he knows. Now I get it. I say this though. I don't think too negatively about it, about the Pistons walking off. They battled. They fought. The Pistons have been going at it with the Celtics, with the Lakers, with the Bulls. They felt like disrespected. They felt like the NBA wasn't putting them on the map, which I get it. They probably weren't because they're in Detroit. And you got Boston, Los Angeles, and Chicago as the teams that they need to be promoting. Mm-hmm. And now Detroit's trying to come in here, and Detroit's not pretty. Detroit's not some town that the NBA is going to make a bunch of money off or anything like that. So they had that chip on their shoulder, and I think they realized this was the end. This was it. And it was kind of, I think even them walking off the court wasn't just against the Bulls. I think it was also against the NBA as a whole. Like, it was against David Stern. It was against
Okay.
the people who run it. They were like, you know what? We're not doing what you want us to do. You're not going to get footage of us at the end of the game giving high fives and hugs to the team that you're trying to promote and that you want over us anyways. So I think they said, we're not going to give it to you. We're going to do this our way, and we're walking off.
Well, that's the only team that, to me, can justify doing it for a couple reasons. Like you said, the NBA didn't want to promote the Detroit Pistons, but they were mentally intimidating other players.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not the greats, because those guys pushed us aside, but you can't tell me there weren't guys in the league like, man, I do not want to get my face bashed in by the Pistons tonight. This is going to suck. And just even that persona, that bad boy persona, that rough and tough, we're going to knock you out persona that they exemplified all the time, that was part of their basketball game.
Yeah.
So it didn't happen. It happened before they ever stepped on the court. Was, we want to be in your head before you get here.
Mm-hmm.
That image, that fear kind of dissipates when in the biggest game and the biggest series against the new superstar Chicago Bulls versus the bad boy Pistons, they finally get over the hump.
Yeah.
That bad boy mentality kind of loses its sting a little bit when afterwards you're up there hugging and high five and loving on each other. Especially when those two teams were the two really going at it.
Who could you
put? A couple years in a row.
Who could you put on those bad boy Pistons from current NBA? Who would fit right in like a glove and be a part of that team?
Zaza Pachulia.
No. Zaza. Ooh.
Zaza took a few dirty shots.
I like that pick. So Zaza comes in playing Bill Lambier's role.
He would Lambier it.
I got one. Are you ready?
Okay.
You're going to like this one. This is your guy. Patrick Beverley.
Oh, without question. Patrick Beverley's easy.
Patrick Beverley right down the bad boy Pistons.
Easy.
Just even starting alongside of Isaiah Thomas. Joe Dumars can get pushed out a little bit.
Dumars can get bumped a little bit. Or can you imagine if Isaiah Thomas stayed on the bench and Joe Dumars and Patrick Beverley were just out there roughing people up for like just bullying people for 30 minutes each a game?
And then Isaiah comes in to kill him with the offense.
Go ahead and get some buckets.
Patrick Beverley roughs him up, and Isaiah comes in and scores the buckets.
Well, and you could bring out Dumars and Beverly to start and just set the tone, and then Isaiah Thomas replaces one, and then they just spin the rest of the game, the three of them rotating.
That would be it.
You would do Thomas and Dumars, and then you would do Thomas and Beverly, and then you'd bring out Beverly and Dumars again and shut it down at the beginning of the third quarter and really set the tone for the second half. And then Isaiah Thomas rotates back in there and gets some buckets. So, which I know Isaiah Thomas gets a little hate because of all this stuff that's come out. But Isaiah Thomas was a hooper, man. Isaiah Thomas would play.
I want to close on this. Because we got episodes 4 and 5 coming this Sunday. I want to close on this. And, well, first I'm going to say this before we close on this. If they don't mention Tony Kukoc in episodes 4 or 5, I will give
5 or 6.
5 or 6, sorry. If they don't mention Tony Kukoc in episodes 5 or 6, the first person to comment on this video will get a free T-shirt. The first person. If they do not say Tony Kukoc's name, episodes 5 and 6, we are giving out a free T-shirt. No, scratch that. We're giving out a free T-shirt to everybody that comments on this post. You will get a free T-shirt if they do not even mention Tony Kukoc's name.
If you mention Tony Kukoc's name in the comments right now, and they don't mention Tony Kukoc's name in the comment or in episodes 5 and 6, you get a free T-shirt.
Free T-shirt.
We love doing giveaways here at Room 222 Podcast.
You ready? Are you ready for this?
I'm ready. One last thing. Let's do it. It's like
if there's a playoff series between the bad boy Pistons,
okay,
and any team, but that team has Draymond Green on it, how many points does Draymond Green average over 7 games?
He's going to average 7 or 8, only because he's going to get fouled.
That was more than I was going to give him. I was going to give him like 0.4.
Dude, he was gonna. Well, here's what I thought about. My initial response was 1.3. Averaged 1.3 points a game if he played against the Bad Boy Pistons. But then I thought he's gonna get fouled 3-4 times a game, and 2 of those are gonna be in the bonus, and he might make a shot every other game. So he's gonna shoot like 6 free throws minimum per game, and then he might make a basket or 2 here. So I'd probably give him 5 to 7 points a game.
There you go, people. 5 to 7 points a game.
You heard it here. You know how many rebounds he's going to get, though?
Oh, tell me.
None! Because Dennis Rodman and Bill Laimbeer and all those guys are going to take him. No rebounds. Out of here, trash Draymond Green.
None. That's it.
That's it. All right. We are wrapping up episode 3 of the Room 222 podcast with a lot of Draymond Green disrespect, a lot of Bad Boy Pistons respect.
Come on the podcast, Draymond. We'll say it to your face.
Dude, we are golly, man. I don't even know how to close this because I'm just still upset about Draymond Green. But
I got Room 222 podcast. Subscribe, share, like it, comment on there. Say Tony
Kukoc.
I don't even care if you spell it right. Just put Tony Kukoc down there. Like, share, comment. Come on, people. Come on.
Room 222 podcast.
Tell your mom about the podcast. I don't care.
This has been about The Last Dance, episode 3 and 4. We will be back next week with episodes 5 and 6 and potential T-shirt giveaways if Tony Kukoc doesn't get any love. And we are again hoping for more Dennis Rodman. See you guys.
Dennis Rodman, the legend. Peace.